All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, after the fiasco that was the 2022 NFL season for the Denver Broncos, you knew that changes were coming. And even though it wasn't all of the changes that Bronco fans probably wished for, they do have a new head coach in Sean Payton. Now, in 15 years as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, Payton led the franchise to heights that it had never previously reached, which included winning the Super Bowl to conclude the 2009 NFL season. Now, the Broncos paid a pretty penny to get Payton, as being that he was still under contract with the Saints. Denver is sending a first round pick to New Orleans this year via San Francisco and Miami, and a 2024 second round pick, plus Peyton having to pay Peyton to be their head coach. But at the end of the day, if you're the Broncos, you got to push all of your chips to the middle of the table to try to figure this thing out, because the Broncos 2022 season was a train wreck from the word go with Nathaniel Hackett. And of course, I'm not the only one that believes this. I feel like it was supposed to be, or the Broncos were hoping to get a package deal with Nathaniel Hackett being their head coach and making a play for Aaron Rodgers. And of course, that didn't work out. And then we saw the Broncos pivot and make the deal with the Seattle Seahawks to acquire quarterback Russell Wilson. And then, of course, if you talk about Hackett being a train wreck, Wilson was an even bigger train wreck. And that's going to be the biggest thing right here for Sean Payton, because of course the questions are going to be, can Sean Payton fix Russell Wilson? And then you're going to have those people that want to say, well, if Sean Payton didn't believe that he could fix Russell Wilson, he would have never taken the job. That's part of it, in my opinion. But also, I feel that the Broncos threw so much money Payton's way, it made it hard for him to say no. I mean, but let's not gloss over the fact that the Broncos were also making a hard play for D'Amico Ryans, who decided to become the head coach of the Houston Texans. And then immediately, as soon as that news broke, then of course we saw the Broncos jump on the Sean Payton train. So now it's going to be Sean Payton working with George Payton, of course, no relations because the spellings are different for the last names, who is the general manager of the Broncos. And now they got to try to figure this thing out. The Broncos have a lot of talent on this team, and that's going to be important because the Broncos don't have a lot of picks either from last year, this year, or now next year as well, due to the moves to try to acquire Russell Wilson and now Sean Payton. Nonetheless, this is still a very talented team. And if you watched the Broncos play this past season, you knew that they had a championship caliber defense. The issues were their offense, because defensively, the Broncos were one of the top units in the NFL on that side of the ball. They played well enough to win the AFC West. But the problem was the offense could not keep up. Most importantly, Russell Wilson. Now, Sean Payton has talked about already getting the offensive running game intact in order to help out Russell Wilson. But at the end of the day, Russell Wilson has to play better and Russell Wilson has to be better, because, there's talks that, well, when Russell Wilson was in Seattle, Pete Carroll really let him freelance. If he didn't see it, he could just improvise and take off. That West Coast offense is a lot different for quarterbacks to get accustomed to, especially on the other side of 30 when they haven't done it before. So that's going to be important. Also, Russell Wilson has to be a better leader and a better player. All of this, glitz and glamour that he got with the private office and parking spots and all this other stuff, that needs to be thrown out of the window. And Sean Payton has to correct that now, because those other players on the Broncos team need to know and believe that Russell Wilson is one of them. And that's going to be very important. And I think the OTAs are going to be very important for the Denver Broncos. Most importantly, Russell Wilson, because he has to go out there and try to build the camaraderie with his teammates that he didn't build last year. On top of that, he has to get acclimated to Sean Payton's system, and he has to do it in a hurry. So I think this is going to be a very important offense for him. And it's hard to believe when you think about the winning success that the Broncos organization has had. They've not had a winning season now since 2016, and they have not made the playoffs since 2015. And they also have three straight last place finishes in the AFC West. So these are all things that have to get turned around if you're the Denver Broncos, obviously, and of course Sean Payton, because this is a guy that you brought in to get it done and try to end the dominance of the Kansas City Chiefs in this division. But nonetheless, Sean Payton is going to bring a lot of expectations with him to Denver. I get it, but it won't amount to a hill of beans if he cannot get that quarterback situation straightened out. I know he's going to try to figure out Russell Wilson, what makes him tick, what makes him go, what works for him, and what doesn't. And at the end of the day, he has to try to find a way to fix it. If he cannot, then honestly, at the end of the day, to me, it's going to be more on Russell Wilson than it is going to be on Sean Payton because, of course, Russ already has that one bad year, that blemish on his resume. Some people want to say Russ is finished. Some people are going to give him the benefit of the doubt and give him a mulligan. But I guarantee you, if Sean Payton is coming to town like he is, and Russell Wilson puts together another stinker or a close to a 2022 caliber year in 2023, then it's all going to be on Russ. It would be a pass for Payton, and the blame would be on Russell Wilson. So this is going to be important for head coach and quarterback to be on the same page. But in my opinion, it's more important for the quarterback to show that he can still get it done. He has the ability to adjust the Sean Payton system. And also, it's going to be important for Sean Payton to try to bring out the best in Russell Wilson. On paper, this looks good, but at the end of the day, talk is cheap. So let's see what happens with the Broncos, Sean Payton, and Russell Wilson for the 2023 NFL season. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line to be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.